Hello, beloved. It's me, James, and it's time to do some sacred reading together. I love the opportunity to sit with you and share some thoughts about a sacred text. The reason we do sacred reading together, it's an opportunity sometimes when we don't have the words, we don't know what to say. It's an opportunity, a form of prayer that invites us to a deeper conversational connection with God, with Spirit in our lives. It is a way of listening for some hint or truth, word, phrase, or image that, if we are open, Spirit may plant in us, may call us back from the edge, may give us encouragement when we need it most, may speak something into our lives that we've been pondering and didn't even know we need until we heard it and somehow it said. A little bit about how to do sacred reading on your own, which I encourage. I do it on my own. I read a text from some sacred writing that I've chosen. I read a short text 3 times aloud. I do it aloud because it engages my whole body. Sometimes my eyes play tricks on me, but when I read it aloud, I get the vibration. It connects me more deeply with myself and with the very vibrations that come with the hearing of myself and the vibrations in my body. After I've listened to the text, I reflect in silence for a moment, and then I see what I feel like it might have said to me. It's not the same as deep Bible study, where we try to figure out perhaps what the original writer was trying to do or say when they wrote it down, what was their context. When we do sacred reading, we're less interested in that and more interested in what can this text speak into my life right now that I need to hear, that I need to know, that will encourage, call me out, or whatever it may be. We are working our way now. We've just begun in the book of Ruth. It's a fairly short book in the Hebrew Bible, the story of a woman named Ruth. And what makes it an attractive story for me is there are so few books that focus in on women biblically. And I think that's a sadness, just shy of a tragedy for me. There's so much we could hear if we could hear the richness more feminine voices. However, we have the voice of Ruth. So let's listen together. I'm only going to read it once when we do sacred reading. For the sake of time, we just do a single reading. I'll pause. You can stop. Go read it for yourself if that's what you want to do. Or you can remain for a moment, and after a bit of silence, I will speak what spoke out to me as I share what's in there. Today, we're looking at the book of Ruth, chapter 1, and we are beginning in verse 15 and going through verse 19. We're listening to set the story, just in case that will help you, because Ruth is a story with a lesson built into, with reflections built into the story itself. It's the story of a family during a famine. There wasn't enough food in their home area, so they were Israelites, and so they went off to Moab, where they found food. Their 2 sons got married to women from Moab, and the husband dies, leaving Naomi, the only one, the mom. And the 2 sons die, leaving Naomi and the 2 daughter-in-laws, Orpah and Ruth. Now, Naomi sends Orpah and Ruth, asks them to go back to their people because they were women and they had no access to the means of life. They would have to find men to connect with in order to have access. That's just the reality of the time. And so whether it would be a husband, a brother, a father still living, some distant cousin or uncle, something, someone who would help provide for them because they wouldn't be allowed to provide for themselves as women. After she asked them to turn back, Orpah, one of the two daughter-in-laws, has gone back to her people. Reluctantly, but she went back. And we pick up right after Ruth has indicated her resolve to stay with Naomi. And here we are. Listen now for the Spirit to speak to us. Naomi said to Ruth, "Look, your sister-in-law has returned to her people and to the God of her ancestors. You too must go. Follow your sister-in-law." But Ruth said to her, "Please don't ask me to leave you and turn away from your company. I swear to you, where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I'll die there too, and I will be buried there beside you. I swear, may Adonai be my witness and judge, that not even death will keep us apart." Seeing that Ruth was determined to accompany her, Naomi said no more, and together they walked until they came to Bethlehem. There's a piece of this Ruth text that you may have heard before. You may not have. I know that my wife found a calligraphy piece years after we'd been married, a calligraphy piece of these words, and gave them to me. Where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. What kind of devotion did it take for Ruth, who has only known Naomi as her mother-in-law? What did she see in this friendship, in this relationship, that kept her connected enough to not to go back to her people, the Moabites, and instead go with Ruth, to go with Naomi back to her people? It's not clear, and the text doesn't say what it is, but Ruth must have seen something in Naomi, must have felt some sense of connection. Now, there could be lots of, I suppose, practical reasons that she chose to go. Maybe there was no one for Ruth to go back to. I don't know. But I choose to see in this story, when I hear it, the kind of devotion that arises between people when they come to see in one another a goodness, a wisdom, an authenticity, something real in a sense of connection arose between Ruth and Naomi, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. And that relationship was something that, to me, it seems like Ruth is not willing to give up. Ruth is committed to this relationship, and she's concerned about what will happen for Naomi, just as Naomi is concerned about what will happen to Ruth. They're both concerned, and they're trying to do their best to make sure that the other is okay. And the only way, Ruth cannot receive a text from Naomi way before that time. Couldn't receive a text from Naomi to tell her how things turned out when she got back home. So she chooses to go with her. And she is so committed to her, she says, where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Where you die, I'll die. I mean, her sense of devotion and connection is rare, is very rare. That sense that our lives, our future, is bound up together in such a way that even though we're both vulnerable and uncertain of what the future will hold for us, I choose to throw my lot in with you. I'm going to go and if you can help take care of me, that's great. And if I can help take care of you, that's great. But we're in this together. And it makes me think of how much stronger we are together than we are divided. But in order to get there, I do think we have to get to a place where we can trust one another, where we really feel like we are coming from a place of authenticity. I see that in this relationship of devotion, not desperation. I see two women with uncertain futures, two people with uncertain futures who have chosen to bind their futures together to see what the future will hold for them. Because the two friends, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, hope that between the two of them, they'll find a way to have access to the means of life in the future. It's a great sense of devotion. I encourage you to take this text to heart, to read it when you get a chance, when you're at home. Ruth chapter 1, verses 15 through 19. And, focus in on 17. A lot of people will. And imagine what kind of relationship you would have. What level of trust and authenticity. Imagine if that were a reality in your life. I hope it is for you. I hope it is for you. But imagine that sense of connection and how, in a larger sense, all of us here in this beautiful world God has made are bound up together in ways that can make a difference. Again, wish you all the very best. I don't know if my reflections helped you at all or what your reflections might be. Welcome you to share yours, once you've had the opportunity to read it yourself. But until the next time you might join me in this, I wish you all the best and invite you to remember you are infinitely precious, unconditionally loved,